It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, as always, the team is back together again this week. I've got Shawn Slaght in Moose Jaw. Shawn, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks, Gary.
We missed you.
I was too busy partying.
Welcome back. And, of course, in Connecticut, I've got Muffler Mike Kostiuk. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great.
What a great week, eh, guys?
Yes.
God, I put a lot of miles on my cart this week. I went east, I went west, I went north, I went south. I was in Six Nations. I was in Oakville. I was in Brampton. I was over in Bowmanville with the Gales. And this week's no different, man. We got a Six Nations trip. We've got a Peterborough trip. And I got a Coburg one going further east. So it's going to be a busy week again. Great to see all the people. Great to talk to everybody. It really is awesome to get out to these things live. You know, as much as we can watch and do other things, it is so awesome to go and watch live box lacrosse in the summer in all, junior B, junior C, senior B, senior A, MSL. It's amazing. And we're so lucky. We're so blessed that this stuff is actually here and live and with us. And we can't take it for granted because, you take it for granted and, one day it's gone. So, we got to work hard to make sure it stays with us. Anyways, before we get rolling, and of course, we got to get the ball rolling, right, guys? Now we can begin. Just a reminder for the network that all episodes are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you can catch all the action on EOPsports.com. Remember, hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Enjoy our affiliates. We got stuff for you every day of the week on Edge of Philly Sports. Please visit our website and have a look. There's obviously a show or two or five that you'd like to catch. They are amazing. They are the best in the business. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts, all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. As well, you can catch it on the EOP YouTube page at EOP Sports, or if you're looking for our stuff in particular, you can go to our YouTube page, which, of course, is All Lacrosse all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors, getting bigger and bigger all the time, guys. And while you're there, please subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Also, it is a holiday week. And later on this week, of course, is a happy 4th of July to my American friends, Mike. But of course, tomorrow is Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to everybody in Canada. But also, lest we forget. It's we're just coming out of Indigenous Month, and I would be remiss if I didn't make mention of that. Speaking of the end of Indigenous Month, June was Indigenous History Month in Canada, and over the past 30 days, I've tried to show videos and articles related to the origins of lacrosse and the heritage of a people intertwined with lacrosse. I hope you've been as fascinated as I have, learning as much as I have as well. Thank you for following the videos and the articles daily. We try to give a wide variety of information to help with understanding and knowledge of the Native people, their heritage, and their culture. Way. So thank you very much. Remember, in November, it is Native American History Month, and we'll go somewhat the same way of daily videos just to remind everybody and to take a look. And understanding is the first thing of healing. Once everybody can get understanding of each other, then it's much easier to get on the same page and move forward. And I think we have a great opportunity with the Creators Game and a platform like that to really help move things along with race relations, really, and just get an understanding of where people are coming from, how they were brought up, all the different things, as well as it is so interesting once you delve a little bit further than just the surface and all the meanings and all the different things that I learn each and every time we go through these months. And I love it. I can't get enough of this kind of history. So please, it's their archive. So please feel free to look through all of it. at any time. So a few things to just to remind everybody. It's finally here. Next Saturday, July 6th, will be the third annual McDougall Memorial. And we have a Junior A game at 3 o'clock. The celebrity game is the one that you should be circling, 6 p.m. There is a silent auction going on all day from 4 till 10 p.m. Beer garden, live music. There's going to be food, lots of people, lots of celebrities, and really a ton of things to bid on. So really a lot of fun, not expensive, a great time for everybody. It's a great way to spend a Saturday night in the summer and have some fun as well. A reminder, a great way to spend some time also, Fan Cup Philadelphia is coming up in 3 weeks' time. Yours truly will be in Philadelphia with the roadie squad. Win or lose, we drink the booze. You know it. But great time to get together with other NLL fans and just have fun playing the Creators game, as well as getting together with people and raising a bunch of money for charity. I believe last year's auction or tournament, by the time we were done, raised $12,000. Not bad for a one-day tournament with a bunch of hacks. You know, between just sponsors, auctions, things like that. Again, a lot of really great stuff. Online auctions as well as in person. So give it a look at the on Facebook, Fan Cup 2024, I believe. And there's a website as well that you can connect to. The Gales Picnic is coming Saturday, July 27th, 1 till 4 p.m., and that will be at the Tyrone Community Center, located at 2716 Concession Road in Tyrone, close to Bowmanville. You know, face painting, treats, so much more. Mike's favorite, the jumping castle. So Mike's going to try and make his way up for this one. We're not quite sure if he can do it or not, but I'm going to be something. Speaking of which, the Brooklyn squad, for the Merchants and for the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, they're having their first annual golf tournament on Monday, July 22nd at Wolf Run Golf Club. Silent auctions, there's sponsorship opportunities. They need volunteers. $185 per person, or $700 for the team of 4. What's included is a welcome gift, round of golf, cart, lunch and dinner, and prizes. Check-in is at 10 a.m. Shotgun start 11, scramble format. If contact is Gavin at sbis.ca, and make your interest there if you are able to. Another really great event, supporting really great programs. Speaking of great programs, Lacrossing Barriers, that's starting up on Tuesday, their first camp, July 2nd and 5th. Also a couple in August. Remember, all abilities and all possibilities day camps, which are designed to allow anybody who chooses to learn, laugh, and play. The camps will guide everyone who comes to participate the way they need. Ages 5 and up, 9 till 3, with options for early drop-offs, late pickups. Register or ask questions, or see where it is if it's in your area. Email Scott at lacrossingbarriers.org, and he'll get back to you. Scott's been on our program a number of times, as well as on my other program, and as well as a lot of the people who are in the program. And just a fantastic program, inclusivity, allowing everybody a chance at this. They even have blind lacrosse, guys. That to me is amazing.
Cool. That's cool.
Yep.
They have, it doesn't matter if you have cerebral palsy, doesn't matter if you have any affliction. They will find a way to help include you in the way you need to be. And everybody has fun. Everybody learns. And really fantastic people, fantastic coaching, fantastic all-around everything. Just an absolute class act from top to bottom. So really, really excited about that. Well, thank you, Brian. Happy Canada Day and 4th to all everybody. Steve, thank you for joining up with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Big shout out to Steve with coming up with some graphics for the Waterdogs' first win of the season that we'll be
he's done
discussing
some
later. So
Done some amazing work. Yep.
So
he's the one who made me look good on that video too from week 1. That worked. Thanks for radio, guys. Eduardo is with us.
Hey,
He is
Eduardo.
coming from St. Augustine. You know, he was talking about that last week, John, that he was on the surface of the sun, and he really doesn't mind trading with you.
Hey, lately it's been hot out here too, so wait till November hits.
Tony, actually, none of us are from Pennsylvania. We work with them, and Pat, when he comes on, is from Philadelphia. I'm from Canada. I'm from Toronto, and Shawn is from Moose Jaw, which is the middle of Canada. And Mike is down in Connecticut. So.
I'm in Connecticut, so.
And Eduardo, of course, is Miami, St. Augustine to be exact.
Yes.
So we are all around, hence us all across. But few bits of news. The Rochester Nighthawks made some news. They re-signed Turner Evans to a 1-year contract. That's big. Turner's had a good summer as well. A healthy Turner Evans is really going to help that team.
Yeah,
Definitely.
He's a great playmaker as well. He's got a great shot too. But really, first and foremost, he'd be the yin to the yang of Connor Fields and Ryan Smith and the rest of them. So Kyle Waters. To have Turner there is basically your quarterback in there, in true Evans form. The Swarm did a lot to bolster their future. They've signed Liam McGrath to a 2-year agreement. Richie Cannell, 2-year agreement. And I remember when he got drafted, but he had been hurt this past year, Caleb Benedict to a 2-year agreement. So I expect big things from him, from the Northman program. So really, really excited for that. There's Pat. Pat's from Philly. And Tony is in Maryland. Tony, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
welcome, Tony.
So thanks.
Thank you so much for following along. Anything you need, just feel free to chime in with us. Now, Coburg, they weren't finished. They made a few deals last week and got much stronger. The Grennan move. Talking with John Webb this past Thursday when they were playing in Brampton, really it was a thing of convenience. Grennan didn't mind going and playing at Coburg, but Tyler Hendricks actually lives in Oakville. So it was actually a deal of convenience that just happened to work out for both teams. Hendricks, of course, has been really great for Oakville in the couple of games he's played. And, of course, Grennan, he had 2 really barn-burner games. He made us known on Thursday as well. But they also, Brock Henley, he was with Brooklyn. And for a second round 2025 and 2026 pick plus some future considerations is now with the Coburg Kodiaks as well. Now, just a little bit about Brock. He won a Minto Cup with Whitby in 2022. And check this out, guys. In that 16-game season, he had 120 points, 70 goals, 50 assists.
Wow.
Can he put them up? Yes,
Oh,
he
yeah.
can. So is that another big move for John Webb? He was very, very happy with that one also. And it basically, for a couple of picks over the next few years, basically got him for a song. So that's extreme.
And that's good news eventually for the Vancouver Warriors, who I believe have his rights, NLL rights.
Oh yeah.
So
And he's looked good. He looked good with Brooklyn last week, and he looked pretty good in that Brampton game, which didn't have a lot of scoring, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Yep, you're right.
absolutely.
There are
It is.
many leagues, many tiers, and it goes even further than what we discussed. So it's fantastic, and grassroots programs all over the place. So it is really on the upfront. So really excited about things moving forward. The field programs also are getting better. They really have some. Cuffler's got some great direction now. The commissioner and assistant commissioner are both good friends of mine, Scott Fox and Tom Bolesky, and we're working on doing stuff with them come the fall when their season is in full swing. It's going to be really an exciting time, and a whole lot of changes coming, and really a lot of exciting things going on in there. So moving right along here, the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame announced their list of 2024 inductees. Player-wise, Pat O'Toole, John Swan, Jeff Snyder, and John Tavares. Wow. A long time in coming for a number of those names, like all of them. In the builder category, Bar Boys, Eddie Como, and Dan Richardson. For officials, Murray Taylor and Norm Isford. And for veteran, Barry Richardson, as well as the Victoria Shamrocks. Go Shamrocks, go. 1996. Unbelievable. The team over that decade. They were as dominant as we've been talking about Peterborough of recent. Each of the inductees left a significant mark on lacrosse's sporting legacy and lasting heritage of Canada's national summer sport. The formal induction banquet and ceremonies will be held in New Westminster, BC, at the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame in the Anvil Centre, November 2nd, 2024, if maybe WestJet will be off strike by then. Maybe Air Canada will get us there. God only knows. Now, guys, we've been getting a lot of news recently about World Lacrosse and them in putting on a shot clock, which, if you remember correctly, was my big gripe last year doing the Worlds, was we've been spoiled with the PLL and the 2-point goal and the shot clocks and all the other things to make it a much quicker moving game. And I had really I lost touch and forgotten how slow a game can go when you have a team that's really good at passing and can kill 4 or 5 minutes at a time, just putting it back and forth and up and around and back and forth and up and around, especially when the teams aren't evenly matched. So get up by 6 or 7 or 10 and then just show us your passing clinic. So a shot clock is, in my opinion, very necessary. The international governing body has proposed adding a shot clock to all World Championship and qualifier events. If passed, it would apply to all men's championship events and qualifiers held after January 1st, 2026, with the 2027 men's championship as the first to use it. It would apply to women's championship events and qualifiers held after January 1st, 2027. The women's under 20 championship would be the first. It would be required only at qualifiers and championships, not at grassroots, recreational, or other domestic national programs. Currently, the proposal calls for an 80-second clock, but the release states the Rules Committee would finalize details. Now, all of a sudden, weighing in, we have a couple of heavyweights. Stan Cockerton of Canadian fame. He's the one who got that goal in the Miracle in Manchester in 78. A shot clock in all forms of our great game is an essential part of our future to excite new fans, create growth at all levels internationally, and bring our sport to the level of excellence which it and our great athletes deserve. Let's move forward and show all that our game is and can be. Also, going on the women's side, Linda Samarakova, the international game has been a generation behind with rules and shot clock, and we're super excited to play the game at the speed it's supposed to be played at. Now, again, I've been a proponent for this for a long time. I don't know. What do you guys think? Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Gary. We saw what happened at the last World Championships. That was boring when they didn't have a shot clock. Exactly what you said. Those powerhouse teams would get up 5 or 6 goals, and then they would just kill the clock. There was no action. They would just pass, kill the clock.
Run around, run behind the net, run back and forth, and pass some more.
You'd have 5 minutes of non-action, basically.
Pretty much. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. Obviously, there are some folks who are not in favor of it. I believe Wales Lacrosse posted something this week, pretty heavily against the use of a shot clock, and trying to point out that it seems to be something more that North America wants than anywhere else in the world. Obviously with PLL, NLL, and other leagues in the U.S. and Canada being used to
being a box guy, being predominantly brought up on box lacrosse. Of course, I'm big on the shot clocks. In fact, I loved it when Summer Ball went and had a shot clock during penalties, because they used to not have one, and you could watch them just kill without a shot clock. So to have that shot clock all the time just speeds the game up.
Yeah,
It speeds the game up, and it makes it
It's a
exciting.
game and it
agree.
makes more action. Makes more action too. You're
Yeah,
forced
and
to
it
have
for-
to
forces-
put a shot on goal and have
We're
some
trying to
offense.
grow the game, so we're trying to get eyes on it. We're trying to get the youth on it because we want to keep them for a number of years. And how are we going to do that? Excitement. Passing and running around in circles is not exciting. It is at times. It is in specific moments, not for 4 or 5 minutes at a time, 5 times in a game. That doesn't work for me. A shot clock, I think, is a necessity. I really, like I said, I couldn't believe how much I had been, spoiled or pampered by the PLL and all the different rules that they had put in since their inception, and how they were glaring when I was watching World Lacrosse last June, live and in color on the sidelines, and just originally you're looking at what's missing here, and then it's dawning on you, oh yeah, the speed. You have everything moving, and then it just comes to a screeching halt and stays that way for God knows how long. Then a shot comes, or a team just goes off and scores 6 or 7, and then shows us their passing prowess. That's just not exciting in my eyes.
No, sorry, Gary. I was going to say I agree with you. Like you said, we need more eyes on the game, and making it a boring product, sorry to say, is not going to help that matter. I was just thinking, like, so let's compare that to, say, another sport like basketball. Could you imagine basketball without a shot clock?
Yeah, we'd have the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Simply,
the exact same thing, right? Pretty much the exact same scenario.
And Tony, I agree with you to a point, but being one that's out in Europe a number of times for Rebeski tournaments and other things like that, they are getting a stronger foothold, and they are becoming more prominent. In fact, we even had one player make it to the NLL from Finland or something like that. So they are starting to come, and the level of lacrosse is increasing. But I agree, sheer numbers and sheer power right now, I don't see them having much of an influence. But I think Wales is the exception, not the rule. I think most places either don't care or want one. So I think, honestly, if we're trying to grow the game to the younger crowd, which is where we need to have it, if we want to sustain this little bit of a burst that we're getting, especially with the Olympics coming and with sixes, because there's a shot clock in sixes. So if we're going to show that to the world, we might as well show them, similarity in the game. So at least people can recognize it when they see it somewhere else. Not, why is this one so much slower than what I watched in the Olympics? We can't have that.
Like the only thing I could think of is, as a con, this is, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm totally for the shot clock. Only thing I could think of is the fact that if you're getting two really lopsided teams with the shot clock, the score could get way out of hand way quickly. But again, that's neither here nor there. I still think it's a boring product if you don't have that shot clock.
Well, to that extent, though, then you're getting a lot of goals, right? Which is exciting still.
Yeah.
Unless you're on the other team. But, that just gives you incentive to build, right? And a lot of these teams have made huge strides. So it's not like we're going to put something to somebody who's played a game for 40 years and now you're going to put this other thing in there. We're talking about, guys who have played with shot clocks and played box, and then now at the world stage are going to do it again. And if they're using an 80-second shot clock, by no means are they stretched. 80 seconds is plenty of time to set up a play and get a shot off.
Yep.
By the time it's said and done, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a 60-second shot clock. But it's neither here or there. As long as there is a shot clock, that means in a minute and a half, it is going to switch over. So it can't be just a constant barrage of slow or stop and just kill momentum. Because I found that in a number of games last year in the championships, that it may have had a good twist to start, but boy, oh boy, did it ever drag in the second half when you had big leads. So anyways, that's just something to keep our eyes on. Be interesting because, again, it won't take effect till 2026, 2027, which, by the way, is just in time for getting ready for the Olympics. So, so when we can introduce sixes in the Olympics and introduce the rest of the game once we have people's eyes. Like I've been jumping up on my soapbox forever. I don't care how we get the eyes on the game. We can teach them tradition after we get them in the game. We got to get them to look at the game first. Really, first and foremost, that's my biggest thing, is we got to get them somehow, some way, some version to get them to look at the game. Because nobody I have ever met has looked at this game and go, nah, no thanks. Everybody is just, wow, what is this? Where can I get to see more? And there it grows. So biggest thing, get eyes on this game somehow. And if we're going to put our best foot forward, we want to get the most excitement for our buck. So that's my thing. Anyways, before we get into all the juniors and seniors and everything like that, just a reminder that this part of the program is brought to you by Sherry's Tickets.
Great moments don't just happen, they happen with you in the crowd. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more with Sherry'sTickets.com and get the tickets you want. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 and share an experience that will live on. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. For that next great moment, save 10% by using the promo code EOP10. Great moments start at Sherry'sTickets.com.
And we have Dave with us. Dave, what's going on, man? We're all doing well. Really great to have you with us. Remember, every day is a great day when we get to talk about lacrosse.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to start off with the West with juniors. Shawn, we missed it last week, so you're going to have to get us caught up and see what's going on in the West Coast.
All right. Don't have much going way back to last week, but I'll at least start with this week, and we'll go into the standings and see where things are at. But start with Sunday night. Last Sunday night, Victoria down New Westminster, 15-11. Coquitlam continues their hot streak in the junior A and BC, 11-4 win over Nanaimo. Then Wednesday, an interesting one between Burnaby and Port Coquitlam. Port Coquitlam was up late in the second period. Joel McCormick scored a pair of goals, one with about 2 minutes left in the second period to tie the game. They scored again with at 9:51 of the third to give Burnaby the lead, which, by the way, McCormick had 5 goals in this game, so he was on fire. But Hunter Meyer for Port Coquitlam scored with 8:59 left in the third, and we were headed to overtime. Dagan Carlson scored about 3 minutes into overtime, give Burnaby 11-10 lead, but it's not sudden death. We keep going. Port Coquitlam pulls their goalie with about a minute and a half left. Josh Mills scores with 1:21 left, and we end this game in an 11-11 tie.
Wow.
Also that night, another close one. New Westminster, the Salmon Bellies, with a 10-9 win over Delta. Heading into Thursday, another tight one with Burnaby again. The close calls, 13-12 win over Langley. We head into Friday night, Port Coquitlam with a win, 10-7 over Delta. Again, Coquitlam's just running over everybody. 19-7 win over Langley. Then last night we had Port Coquitlam picking up an 11-8 win over Nanaimo. So we're to the standings. Again, Port Coquitlam, the Adnax Coquitlam with an 11-3 record in first place. Port Coquitlam Saints at 10-4-1 because they have that one tie now. You have Nanaimo in third at 9-5. Burnaby 8-6-1. New Westminster Salmon Bellies are at 8-7. Victorian Shamrocks 7-8. Delta Islanders 4-9, and the Langley Thunder are 0-15. So they're still looking for their first win. And over to the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League in Alberta / Saskatchewan, the one Saskatchewan team. They were off this week because of Canada Day, but I can kind of fill you in on what happened the week before here. Friday the 21st, big weekend for the Raiders. They picked up 3 wins. The first win came on Friday night, 12-6 win over the Saskatchewan SWAT. Miners also with a big 2-win weekend. On Saturday, they defeated the Mounties 13-11. Then Saturday night, the Raiders defeated the SWAT 14-4. Then last Sunday night, we had the Raiders just got by the SWAT 7-6, and then the Miners defeated the Mounties 11-7. So with their standings now, Miners, we saw what they did last year. They're sitting at 11-2, so they're starting to kind of run away with things a little bit. The Raiders at 9-4. The Mounties at 6-7, and then the Saskatchewan SWAT at 0-13.
Ouch.
Yeah, Saskatchewan's struggling a bit.
Alrighty. We move over into Ontario and the Ontario Junior. Now this thing has been going nutty ever since we've had this move with the Toronto Beaches and being penalized the 8 games. And they really I thought that they would just keep rolling, but they lost to Mimico on Monday, 13-8. So they're kind of struggling at the moment, sitting in 8th spot. We'll see that when they pull up the standings. But Peterborough beat St. Catharines 10-9 in a real close battle of a game. Brampton and Whitby battled tooth and nail, and it was a big third period from Brampton. They got them up 7-6 is how they won that game. The Orangeville Northmen are the class of the league again now. There is nobody coming anywhere near them. I believe they only have 2 losses this year. They just absolutely annihilated the Oakville Buzz 18-4 on Tuesday. It was close right until the national anthem. And then from then on, it really wasn't much. Kitchener and Brampton faced off on Wednesday, and Kitchener pulled off a 10-8 victory over the Excelsiors. 6 Nations in the Toronto Beaches played, and another slobber knocker, and it was 12-11 in overtime for 6 Nations. And it took a 5-goal third period from 6 Nations because Toronto was cruising. Toronto was up 11-6, and they were cruising. And they just fell apart in the third and, again, in the overtime. They just completely shut down. Makes me wonder for the team that started out this year 8-0 or 12-0 or something like that. It just blows my mind, the Jekyll and Hyde that happened here. Burlington and St. Catharines. Now, St. Catharines has really started to impress me, even though they're not winning all their games. They lost to Burlington 7-6, but you're talking about the former Minto Cup champs from last year. That's a heck of a showing in my eyes. And it's funny because it was 6-0 for Burlington after 2, and 6 goals by St. Catharines in the third made this one ever so interesting. But one from Burlington was enough to push it over the edge. Now, just to put it in a little bit of perspective, the one goal came. It was 3 goals for St. Catharines. It was 6-3, 7-3, and then 3 goals in the last minute and a half for St. Catharines to make this thing a 7-6 game. I'm curious if they had 2 or 3 more minutes, what would have happened? Because they certainly found a way to really, really put a scare into Burlington. The Beaches did come out flying on Thursday. They played the Peterborough Lakers, and they beat them very soundly 11-2. It was more of an exclamation point of a game saying we're not dead yet. St. Catharines came back, and Oakville already was smarting from a big beat earlier in the week. Well, St. Catharines beat them 8-3. This game was over from the first. It was 4-0 after 1, 7-3 after 2, and they shut them down again. So St. Catharines is impressing me more and more each week. So by the time the Minto Cup rolls around, we might actually have a pretty viable St. Catharines team. Orangeville played Mimico in a battle of the tops, And Orangeville came out on top Thursday night, 8-6. Really great game. Whenever those two teams meet, is definitely one to circle on the calendar and find a way to get out there. Again, $10. Doesn't cost you a whole lot of money to watch it. This is, guys, you're going to see in the NLL in the next year or two max. So Kitchener put out another beating on Oakville. Tough week for Oakville, man. Tough week. 10-5. So really, really rough week for Oakville this week. And, that was a pretty good program. So I'm hoping they right the ship. Peterborough came out and surprised Whitby. And I don't mean by a little bit. It was 16-4 on Friday night. So, parity in the league, anybody on any night seems to be able to get by anybody. Now, the Beaches and Orangeville met up yesterday. And what a game that we had. We had a 14-13 overtime win by Orangeville. This thing was back and forth. It was 3-2 for Orangeville after one. It was 9-6 for Orangeville after two, but a big third period. 7 goals Toronto was able to put up and turned this 13-13, putting it into overtime. And in overtime, you had Bowie Horseman scoring quickly enough. And that was the end of that. Brampton and Mimico met up. And, according to this, it was a 4-1 win for Mimico. Something tells me that the stat isn't up to date because there was no scoring in the second or third, according to this. Finding it very hard to believe. So we'll look into that and see if we can find something else in that. Taking a look at the standings. Let me just pull it up here for you guys. The Orangeville Northmen, 14-2. The goal differential is a +68. That's mammoth. Mimico sitting in second at 10-5 with a goal differential of 15, which is also big considering that Brampton is nipping at their tail, 9-7 with a goal differential of +20. Peterborough Lakers 9-7 with a goal differential of +10. Sitting in fifth, you have Burlington 8-6 with a tie. St. Catharines is now 8-9, almost at 500. Now remember, when they were sitting at the beginning of the season at 0-6 or 0-7, and I'm thinking this isn't looking too good for a team that's going to wind up in the Minto. Well, they're looking pretty respectable, sitting in sixth, and a couple more wins next week, and we could talk about St. Catharines sitting in third. That's how close this is. This is crazy. Six Nations at 7-9. The Toronto Beaches, again, remember they had 8 wins taken away from them, sitting at 7-11. The Whitby Warriors at 7-9, Kitchener at 5-11, and Oakville again having a really rough week at 4-12. The goal differentials are what is really killing me. Both Kitchener and Oakville are at -41s, so giving up a lot of goals. But the Beaches, now that they took away and gave them zeros on the games that they took away, well, guys, at a -31. So, things are very, 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 very interesting there in junior, and became a lot more interesting with all of that. Now, Dave, a shout out to Daughters Faith.
Awesome. Yes, best of luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heading to the Nationals in Virginia the week of July 10th to the 14th. Absolutely. Congratulations and best of luck. Absolutely. Now, moving over to Ontario's Senior Lacrosse, Senior B. Only a couple of games this week, but hold on to your hats, guys. Now, I got a game for you. Well, we're going to start out with actually last Sunday's game because, it hadn't quite been over by the time we went off the air. And Six Nations was playing Brooklyn. And, of course, the number 1 and number 2 teams facing one another. And, of course, no love lost between them. Well, this was simply a parade to the penalty box. So much so that there was one point, there was a 14-minute penalty given. Yes, 14-minute penalty. I've never heard of that before. But 2 5s and 2 2s on the same guy at the same time. Absolutely nutty. Nutty. But it was an ugly win. It was an ugly win. But The Six Nations Rivermen came up with an 11-6 win in this, shall we say, Donnybrook-filled game that absolutely no love lost in this game. This played into Friday's game because Six Nations went into Hamilton, and again, Six Nations sitting at 12-1, and Hamilton sitting at 5-5 with a tie. And you would normally think that, well, this is just a cakewalk for the Rivermen who have been lighting it up all year. Well, let me tell you, Hamilton came out with a 10-8 win, guys. Yes, they did.
Oh.
Yes, that one is one that made us all raise a Spockian eyebrow, enough to really try and get to delve into it a little bit more. And, well, the top 3 scorers for the Rivermen all year have been Wes Whitlow, 21 goals, 26 assists. Jordan Durston, 15 goals, 25 assists. Jordan Goddard, 14 goals and 23 assists. None of them played in this game. Now, nothing came out of the league of whether they were suspended or something like that, but just coincidentally, none of the top scorers were there for the Rivermen. But Hamilton, the guys who were supposed to score, scored. Ty Argent, 2 goals, 3 assists. Shane Halliwell, 2 goals. Cooper Day Allison had a day of days, man. 3 goals and 5 assists. And they were able to pull us out in the third. This was 3-3 after 1, 6-6 after 2. We were at 7-7 halfway through the third. A 3-goal run from Hamilton, and that sealed the deal here. They exchanged one more set of goals. 10-8 is your final. Hamilton beat Six Nations. Just an absolute, my God. We were still shaking our heads at the Gales game yesterday with a few of the guys who do both of the games. The other game of the week was Owen Sound went into Clearview to face the Crushers. Now, the Crushers' record is, I believe, 3-8-1 or 3-7-1, and really it's not indicative of the team that they are. Now, we talked a couple of times about how they lost 1-goal games to Brooklyn and just heartbreakers, and just are just on the cusp of doing something great. But, something we haven't really talked about is Owen Sound. And Owen Sound put together a terrific game and a great game plan, and really did, with the exception of the second period in which they gave up 5 goals, really were able to stop this Clearview attack and wound up winning 12-9 in this game. So if we're looking at the standings up to date, let me just get this up here. Here we go. The Rivermen are up there at 12-2. Brooklyn sitting at 10-2. Hamilton at 6-5 and with a tie. Owen Sound 4-8 with a tie. Clearview 3-8 with a tie. And the Ennismore James gang 1-11-1. And we remember last week we were celebrating because they got their first win last week. So, really, this is anybody's ball game, as proven that with the right lineup against the wrong lineup, that anybody can beat anybody at any time. Now, do I really think that it's going to be Brooklyn and Six Nations fighting it out? Yes, I do. But that's not to say that Hamilton, Owen Sound, Clearview, any of these teams can really come in. We got a couple more weeks left. We're down to the final 2 weeks and full slates of games. There's 5 games next weekend and another the following weekend. So it's going to be busy. I expect to see a number of things jockeying in the middle there. So we don't know who's going to be doing what just yet and who's going to face who in the playoffs. Stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. Now, just before we head off into the WLA, a little bit of show ID, and then we're going to go to the Philly Sports Trips.
If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. If you want to travel with the pros, then go to phillysportstrips.com. Philly Sports Trips features premium travel and tailgating experiences for the best fans ever the Philadelphia sports fan. Philly Sports Trips has self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights for Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and even the Union. They even offer day trips for more local games. Go to phillysportstrips.com, sign up immediately, and tell them EOP sent you. Do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2024 season, including the Brazil trip week 1. Jump on it now before you lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com and don't miss the next great Philly sports moment.
Absolutely. Now, Western Lacrosse Association. Tell me, Shawn, I can take it. How's my Victoria Shamrocks doing?
Must say they still have never lost a game yet, so they're okay. I think
the
they're
same
okay.
thing with the PLL, but I'm not perfect anymore. But hey,
they're looking pretty
good. A little bit of
they're
salt in
pretty good.
A little bit of salt in the soup there. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start out with last Sunday because the games were just starting as we were leaving the air, and we had the Shamrocks and the Burrards playing.
Yeah, and you know what? I give full credit to the Burrards. They, for the most part, held in there with the Shamrocks, but it was kind of a 5-goal run between the second and third periods. Tom Vason, Dallas Wade, Nick Preston, Casey Wilson, and Matthew Gauthier put Victoria up 9-5 at that point. And that was kind of really the difference in that one is teams are still kind of looking for a way to crack Victoria. 6-point night for Marshall King, a goal and 5 assists. Cam Dunkerley got the start, made 32 saves. On the other side, Marcus Clarich from Maple Ridge had a hat trick himself, and also 2 goals from Dylan McIntosh. Also for the Shamrocks, Vason, a goal and 4 assists. They had several different goal scorers in this game. It was really depth really played a role in this game for Victoria.
Right. Here's my question to you guys, to both of you guys. Should Ottawa be excited of the play of Cam Dunkerley in net for Victoria? Are we seeing another, we've seen it a few times in the summer where guys have looked great and then they get into the NLL nets and don't look so good. Should they be getting excited? Cam Dunkerley's playing so well this summer. Mike, I'll start with you.
I mean, I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think the number of cases we've seen over the last couple of summers where we've seen goalies kind of break out and then continue that trend into the winter with an NLL team has kind of outweighed, maybe the most egregious example, where it wasn't working out would be Devlin Shanahan, with Nanaimo.
Yeah.
Where he had, a decent summer, but just kind of came in when Matt Vince got injured in Buffalo and kind of got shellacked a bit.
Yeah, it's a good point because we can also think back to Zach Higgins and his great summer last summer, and really he was the backbone for Philadelphia. That could have been a whole lot worse over in Philadelphia without much of a defense. And Higgins facing 245 shots a game and really just absolutely standing on his head, literally, as well as figuratively. Because I'm sure at a couple of times he'd have to flip over and circle to try and stop a few of these things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, without him, New West doesn't make that Mann Cup run for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to add, Gary. I mean, to look at the other side, you do have to look at the fact that you're looking at different size dimension nets. You can use the wood stick in WLA, different size pads. But that being said, Cam Dunkerley has shown flashes of brilliance with New York. So maybe just this extra time, this extra action, and seeing those extra amount of shots is just what he needed this summer.
Right. The goal that comes to mind actually is Alex Bouquet, who just lit it up one summer and then came into Buffalo and just couldn't get it right. And Then he went over to Saskatchewan and 60-40 and still having a good summer, but he's not doing much NLL stuff, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I see it as a win-win situation for Victoria when you have another young goalie in Chris Origlieri, and I think both those guys are kind of pushing each other,
right?
To be better, and or I think Origlieri, I mean, for all intents and purposes, if you're a Seals fan, you might want to be a little worried potentially about a sophomore slump on his part, but he's not showing that right now with his summer play.
Right. All right, let's move on over. We had the Salmon Bellies and the Timbermen also last Sunday night, and the Timbermen came out on top big in this one.
Yeah, their offense finally kind of showed up. And honestly, there's not much to say about this one. I mean, it was Nanaimo right from the beginning, and just kind of looking at the stats. I mean, Zach Mans, Jason Knox, and Taylor Clark all had hat tricks for Nanaimo, and those are kind of guys that they're really looking to step up. The other interesting thing to mention as well, we're talking about Devlin Shanahan, and he's really hasn't had a great summer so far. They actually went with Colby Bowman. And we'll get into it a little bit later this week as well. But he had a fantastic game, only giving up 6 goals. So he's looking really good. So unfortunately, Devlin could also be seeing the backup role in Nanaimo as well.
Well, fallen from grace, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I guess the other interesting thing, too, is with only 6 goals, Luke Pincher had 6 points. He was in every one of those goals for New West.
That's making his stock go rise big.
Yeah, and I mean, Will Malcolm only had 2 goals, 1 assist. So that's a guy who they've really been kind of hanging their hat on. Who, for all intents and purposes, Nanaimo shut down.
Right. All right, we head over to Tuesday night, and the Burrards and Adenauks faced one another, and the Burrards come up with a big win.
Yeah,
10-5. Maple Ridge outscored Coquitlam 9-2 over the final 40 minutes to pretty much take care of this game. Ryan Jones, 2 goals, 6 assists. Dylan McIntosh had 4 and 1, and Brandon Humphrey. Can't say enough about him this year. Despite Maple Ridge is still below 500, but he's keeping them in a lot of games right now. 41 saves on the night for him. Coquitlam, unfortunately, not much to speak of. Brian Gillis had a pair of goals. Clark Walter, 1 and 1. Would like to see more out of him, certainly, for the Adnacks. Same with Matt Delmonico, 1 and 1. Andrew Gallant, 39 saves. He's kind of doing a similar job to Humphrey this year, keeping the Adnacks in a lot of games, even though they're right now, they're both just under 500 heading into the second half of the season.
Right. All righty. Moving right along, the Timbermen and the Langley Thunder got together on Wednesday night, and now the Thunder have been doing great lately. Really found that winner's circle until that night.
Yeah.
Timbermen beat them 8-6.
And again, like we said, the Timbermen who kind of got off to a slow start, we were asking at the beginning of the year, like, what's going on with Nanaimo? Like, contenders every year. They're starting to kind of pick it up a little bit and kind of tightening up those standings. A bit of a back and forth battle in the first. Actually, Langley had the lead, but then it was kind of that second period where Langley was completely shut out. And John Phillips had a pair of goals, and Miracle had a goal for the Timbermen to put them up 5-4. And they just couldn't bounce back. And again, we're talking about Colby Bowman gets a start again for Nanaimo, only allowed 6 goals. Yeah, maybe they're just starting to think now is that their guy now is Bowman. And again, another guy whose stock might be rising.
Right. All righty. We go further, and my Shamrocks and the Salmon Bellies. And this was one that I thought would be one to circle on the calendar as it turned out, it was lunch bag letdown. And, well, Victoria's just showing how strong they really are.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, Gary. I was looking forward to this match. I thought maybe this was the one team that might be able to knock Victoria kind of off that pedestal. Not so much.
Not at all, really.
No, I mean, when you go down 5-0 right off the bat, that's tough sledding, especially against a team like Victoria.
Well, you look at the shots in the first period, it was 25-9 for Victoria.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's
Yeah,
a tone that I don't think that any team can kind of overcome.
No, and I mean, Tom Vason, 8-point night, 7 assists and a goal, 4 goals by Marshall King. They're just firing all cylinders. And again, they got so much depth that anyone can score, anyone can make a play. On the other side, New West, again, one guy doing all the work. Will Malcolm had 4 goals and 3 assists, so he had 7 points. He was in on every single goal. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that game, but
now again, my question with Victoria, and of course, I really hope that the answer is in my favor, is when you put that lineup and put that beside the NLL All-Star team over in the MSL with Six Nations, can they match up? That's the question. It's by far the most stacked lineup. It's by far the most stacked lineup in WLA, but is it the most stacked lineup to cover MSL as well? And remember, it's going to be in the East this time, not have the Victoria crowd behind them.
And that might be the one. That might be the one thing. I'm just looking up and down. Victoria's lineup: Marshall King, Matthew Gauthier, Cole Pickup, Clark Peterson, Patrick Dodds. Back in, you got Adam J. Boy, I mean, that's tough because there is, like you said, an NLL All-Star in Six Nations, but it's not like Victoria's a bunch of nobodies over
Yeah,
there.
they're not slouches. I'm just wondering if they can match up. Again, you got Chris Origlieri and Cam Dunkerley, and you got Warren Hill, and you got Doug Jameson over in Six Nations, right? So, it's a first and second All-Star team going at one another for the NLL. There should be an NLL banner hung up in this Mann Cup this year if this is the matchup that will be. So we'll see. But man, I'm telling you, this is interesting. But let's have a look. There was one more game, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And that was the Thunder and the Lakers getting in. And this was a really interesting game, guys. Langley gets back in the winner's circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, bouncing back with a 9-8 win. It was actually tied 8-8 after 2, and Robert Church with the game-winning goal, the lone goal of the third period. For the Thunder, Chase Scanlon had 3 goals, 3 assists. Connor Robinson, a goal and 4 assists. Church had a hat trick and an assist. Nathaniel Kozevnikov, 1-1. And Aiden Walsh, 39 saves in the win. For Burnaby, the usual suspects, but I give these guys credit. They are coming through consistently most nights for the Lakers. Ben McDonald, 4 goals on the night. Jacob Dunbar, 2 goals and an assist. Ben Stewart, a goal and an assist. Thomas Vela, 4 assists. Alex Bouquet, who we mentioned previously, 51 saves. He faced a lot of rubber on the night.
Yeah, he kept him in there.
So, he'll do it,
Yeah.
But
but Burnaby falls into a virtual tie for last with the loss. They're now 3-5. They've lost 4 straight after starting 3-1.
I'll bring up the standings.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at the standings because it's kind of a logjam after that. The loss doesn't really mean too much right now.
No, it is pretty crazy, and I had said, when we were chatting during the week, I had told you guys, if the Salmon Bellies can't beat the Shamrocks, I mean, they're over 500 and everyone isn't, but we're only halfway through the season. They still have to play Victoria 2 more times. I don't see, the way I see it, everyone below Victoria could end up under 500, to be honest. And I think any of those spots 2 through 4 for the playoffs are open at this point. You know, I mean,
Right.
had New West won this week, I would have said, okay, hey, look, now you got 5 teams fighting for 2 spots. Now I think it's 6 teams fighting for 3 spots, because I don't think New West is a lock right now.
Right.
So
Not the way they're playing. No, not recently. And
No.
they've dropped their last 2. But what gets me
Yeah,
is their
and I
goal
mean,
differential is it's only a +7. This is a team that usually is able to put up a lot of goals.
yeah, and it's odd because earlier in the season, the website was noting that that your tiebreakers were points and then wins and then goal differential, but it doesn't seem to be there now. Now it shows head to head there. So
Right.
and I would
Well,
hey, look, I totally agree with it. I think if you're tied with the team for the last playoff spot, I would think your head to head
Yeah.
should weigh a little
Second
more
push, yeah.
than just a goal differential, because all it takes is 1 or 2 bad games
Sure.
to wreck a goal differential, where you can turn around and say, hey, look, we swept this team during the season. I mean, with that in mind, I was gonna say, with as far as Burnaby goes, you see they've lost their last 4 after starting 3-1, but 4 of those 5 losses, 2 to Victoria, 2 to New West. So when you look at the rest of their schedule, they're playing all the teams around them that are fighting for these spots.
Yeah.
They have so you're looking at 10 more games, and you only have to play New West and Victoria once more.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. I can't remember if it was last year, 2 years ago, where we had the whole whackload of teams that were tied.
Yeah.
Could we see, I'm thinking at least, 2 through 4, you could probably have 5 or 6 teams tied for that spot.
You could, yeah. And so that those head to heads are gonna come in. They're gonna be really important.
Well,
Yeah.
From second
So
to
we could just have a
second to
mess of
7, there's only
tiebreakers
a
if you have
3-game
that many
difference,
teams.
Yeah, and I mean, and certain ones, I don't know offhand, but certain ones are already, are already decided. Certain head to heads.
Right.
Like I think Coquitlam has already swept Nanaimo, for instance.
Right.
Yeah.
And there might be another clean sweep, I think, already that's happened. I just don't remember the teams offhand.
Yeah. Well, it's the one thing I just
goal
noticed looking at the
differential
standings too, just to
just absolutely blow my mind that everybody, with the exception of the top 2, are negatives. Everybody.
Yeah, I was just going to say one thing that just kind of jumps out to me is that the fact that Burnaby and Nanaimo too, even though they're down the bottom, they still got games in hand.
Right.
True.
Well,
true.
It's gonna be
True.
interesting.
And yeah, well, especially this week. I mean, we just hit that last game was game 32 out of 63, so we're right at the halfway point of the season.
And a busy week this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Sean and I's busiest week. There's 8 games, so every team is playing twice, and I believe it's Coquitlam and Maple Ridge are each playing 3 games this week. So there could be a lot of movement by next Sunday.
yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah. So, well, again, you get the Shamrocks and the Sandbellies going at it on Friday.
Again, yeah.
Again. And then the Shamrocks have the Adnacks on Saturday.
Yep.
And then Sunday's also busy with a couple of games.
Yeah, and it is that Coquitlam Maple Ridge. I think that's their 3rd meeting, and that's for both of them. It's their 3rd game of the week. So, and every other team plays twice. So
right.
So it's a busy week.
All righty. We'll jump on to the Major Series Lacrosse in a second. But first, from this part of the show is brought to you by Dolan's Bar,
When you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park, right off I-95 south of the Philadelphia airport. For over 65 years, Dolan's has thrived because of one reason: the amazing people of Philadelphia. Great music, great times, memorabilia, giveaways, great drinks, and great food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through that door. You go to Dolan's at 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park in the 19078. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
All right. So we go into Major Series Lacrosse, and we had a busy week in Major Series Lacrosse. Every night there was a couple of games, one game at least, if not a couple of games. Monday night, we had Oakville and Coburg go back at it. Now, if you remember correctly, on the Sunday night, Coburg stunned Oakville, who had undefeated at the time, and beat him 12-8. Nathan Grennan making a huge mark in that game. Well, they met up again.
No less.
Well, yeah, 6 points, 3-3.
Right after the trade.
Yeah.
Well, Hendricks had a pair of goals for Oakville in that game, but Monday night they met up again, and this time the hero for Coburg was Zach Harrowires. He had a hat trick in this game. David Anderson, Grennan had a goal, Brandon Saris. Tyler Hendricks had a goal. Sam English, Ryan Lansbury, Dalton Silver. Lansbury actually had a pair. But again, 7-5 was your final. Nick Rose was in net for Oakville. Stephen Orleman has looked great this summer. He is chomping at the bit after not playing really a minute, in for the Buffalo Bandits. I think he played one game in relief of Devlin Shanahan before Matt Vince got back, and that was it. So his NLL season was not. So he's just been absolutely frothing at the mouth to get back at it and show that he is an NLL caliber goalie. And he looked great in this game. Again, Oakville, I'm wondering now they're sitting there at 4-2, but 60 shots from Oakville, so 55 saved by Orleman. Just fairly impressive. It brought Coburg back into the talk, because it doesn't look like anybody's going to be catching the first place team, but there is still a battle for second. The next game in the week was on Tuesday. And we had a couple of games. We had the Owen Sound North Stars head into Peterborough for an odd Tuesday night game there. And Peterborough actually looked like the Peterborough that I remember, this particular Peterborough team. And, they wound up winning 13-7, but up 6-3 after one, up 10-3 after two, and then kind of played with the food in the third. But Joe Russell-Terrence with a big night. Holden Cantoni with a big night, Thomas Hogarth with a big night, and that was your deal there. 13-7 for the Lakers over the North Stars on Tuesday. The Six Nation Chiefs had the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, and this was one again that I wanted to make sure that I saw and out I went. And for 2 periods, this was a really great game. It was 5-1 for Six Nations after one. But the score, again, wasn't indicative, of the play. After two, it was 8-4, and it looked like Brooklyn was finding a way to get back in this game. Well, the hammer came down in the third, and Six Nations wins this game 13-7. Just to put a little exclamation point of a close game, this isn't going to be a close game. Because Brooklyn brought this all the way down. I think it was 8-7 at one point. And then Six Nations just went, sorry. But again, big games. Cody Jamieson had a huge game. Austin Stott's another big game. Dane Smith had a couple of goals in this game. You're getting support groups, of course. Travis Longboat's had a great summer. Jeremy Thompson added a goal in transition. Brian Cole added a goal in transition. Again, from top to bottom, you got a lineup that is just wow. And it doesn't matter who's in net. It doesn't matter who's on the floor. Everybody can score. We move into Thursday night, and we had a pair of games on that night. Six Nations went into Peterborough And again, it was another one that, in years past, I would have been, man, I got to get out there to see this. Well, Six Nations beat them like a drum, 14-7, 5-2 after 1, 10-4 after 2, and 14-7 after 3. And again, Eli McLaughlin with a big night. Lyle Thompson with a big night. Austin Stotts had the opening couple of goals. Travis Longboat again. Dane Smith with a few goals. It just was a wild thing again. For Peterborough, Holden Catoni with a couple, and Thomas Hogarth again with another big night, as well as Joe Russell-Terrence. But nobody else. So the support groups is the difference in this. Whereas Peterborough has their main scorers, and then it dips off. Oakville has their main scorers, and then it dips off. Even Brooklyn has their main scorers, and then the disparaging marks between the two. Six Nations is one after the other, wave after wave after wave. So you may be able to stop them for a while, but after a while, you're going to tire. And that's what's happening. I was in Brampton for the Coburg-Brampton game, and, it was a 6-5 win for Coburg, with Coburg scoring with just 2:20 left in the game. It went back and forth. It was 3-1 for Coburg after the first, 3-2 after 2. Brampton actually took the lead in the third. Zach Sunderland got a goal. He got a pair of goals to bring them up ahead. Braden Saris tied this thing up. Brock Haley got a goal. Matthew Bennett gave them a lead again. Sorry, Saris tied it up. And then Dustin Burkhoff with 2:20 remaining. But again, Stephen Orleman played sensational in net in this game. And I can't take much away from Will Johnson either. He only gave up 6 goals. And he faced a lot of rubber as well. So the big thing on these teams is consistent scoring. And that's what's going to hold them away from a team like Brooklyn, a team like Oakville, or a team like, obviously, Six Nations, because they just cannot match up offensively. Defensively, they look good. So the few moves that Coburg's made have all of a sudden elevated them. They're in a 3-game win streak. So it's going to be interesting this coming week. We did have one more game on Saturday, and that was the Six Nations played their 3rd game of the week. Odd, because most of the time is 1, maybe 2. But they were supposed to have 3 the week earlier, and of course that injury in Oakville, they only played 2. And they played 3 games this week, and they faced the Owen Sound North Stars in Owen Sound Saturday evening. And, this is what you expect when these two teams meet. You have a team that's 8-0 going against a team that's 0-8, and it's exactly as what you expect, except for one thing. Now, Six Nations wins 11-2. We'll get that one right out of the way. But after the first period, it was 2-0. After the second period, it was 5-0. So Owen Sound's defense is looking better and better. And, they the back end really, had a decent game. I can't take much away from Caleb Martin. He faced 54 shots, made 42 saves, 43 saves. Not too bad. Warren Hill in net, 42 of 44 saves. It's just one wave after another. McLaughlin had a big game. Shane Jackson had a big game. Stotts had another big game. Travis Longboat. It's continual. And if they don't have a big game, Dane Smith is there. And if they don't have a big one, I can go down the lineup. Jeremy Thompson had, it goes on and on. Lyle Thompson didn't have a big game in this one. Didn't need to. Support group, right? Everybody, everywhere can score. Owen Sound didn't get on the board until almost 2 minutes gone into the third period. And Jackson Webster. Now, just to show you how disparaging the goal differential. We're talking about 25 and 30 goals by guys like Lyle Thompson, Austin Stotts throughout the season. Well, up until this point, let me just pull up this game. And, so far, the Tanner Buck has got 7 goals and 9 assists in 8 games, 9 games now. Jackson Webster, 6 goals, 9 assists, now 7. Tyler Brown, 5 goals, 7 assists. He got a goal in this one, so 6 goals, 7 assists. That's your offensive leaders for Owen Sound. Therein lies the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Your defense is going to do great things, but when you're playing a team like Six Nations, they can throw wave after wave after wave after wave. There's no way that you're going to be able to compete against a team like this this often, especially with the only 7 teams in the league. Looking at this week, there is no game tomorrow with Canada Day. We have Oakville into Six Nations on Tuesday. That's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to hope to get to that one. Peterborough against Brooklyn on Wednesday, another big game. I will be in Peterborough on Thursday for Cobourg and Peterborough facing one another. Owen Sound will face Brampton. That's going to be an interesting one because both teams have trouble scoring. Both teams' back ends are looking good. It might very well be a 1-0 game. We've only seen one shutout in MSL history. And, we might see another one in this one because the one goal might come in overtime. Could even be 0-0 after. Who knows? Anyways, not a lot of scoring from these teams. Saturday, we have a pair of games as well. Brooklyn is playing Brampton in Brampton. And Oakville heads over to Owen Sound for a 7 p.m. game there. So if you have a chance, try and get there. As well, Sunday there's a game. Six Nations is going into Cobourg. I will be in Cobourg. Reminds me to tell everybody that our show next week will be Breakfast with the Boys again at 11 a.m. Because I am headed over to Cobourg. My colleagues have been very, very generous, and we're moving the show into an 11 a.m. slot next Sunday. So please mark that on your calendars to come join us next Sunday morning for our show. If we look at the standings, you will see that, of course, Six Nations is 8-0. Brooklyn is sitting in second at 6-2. Peterborough at 4-4. Oakville at 4-2. Cobourg at 4-4. Brampton at 1-7, and Owen Sound at 0-8. So again, we have a logjam here. We got 3 teams that are battling it out for third place, and really, can still make a play for second, though time is running out. There's only 2 weeks left in the season. So big things to come.
Yeah, I was going to say, Oakville definitely has, they have 2 games in hand on Peterborough and Cobourg. The other thing I wanted to point out with Cobourg is, Peterborough, they got Peterborough and Six Nations this week, and then their last 2 games are against Owen Sound. So, 6-6 is not out of the realm of possibility. It could be enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
and if they can upset Peterborough this week,
and that's not out of the realm of possibility.
That's out of the realm. I was going to say Peterborough does not look as strong as they were in the past, especially the 4-4 record.
Yeah, there's a possibility Peterborough does not make the playoffs and Cobourg's your 4 seed.
It's interesting too because Peterborough's only won 1 game at home this year, where it's usually the strong suit. They're getting 4,000 people to a game. Well, you're getting about 2,500 right now because the Peterborough faithful aren't so faithful when they're not sitting atop the standings. So I hope to get more people out for those games, especially with it coming into playoff time. So I'm sure come playoff time, it'll be a packed house again. But, 2,800 people right now for these games. But again, Peterborough hasn't given them much to cheer for. They've only had the 1 win, and that was last Tuesday.
Yeah, and then the other thing I would say maybe working in Cobourg's favor is they've got the sweep of Oakville head-to-head.
Yep.
So and they swept Brampton. So, the teams on either side of them right now, they hold the head-to-head on both of them. Yeah,
I'm interested to see next Sunday how they fare against the juggernaut of Six Nations. I don't expect huge things, but I expect a good showing. And you get a hot Orlerman in there the way he's been playing this summer. Who knows? Because the defense has really stood up well, and they have a solid offense now.
Yep.
You know, when you're talking about, you know, with the moves that they've made, you know, between Haley, Grennan, Hairwares is going full bore right now. They really do look good. So we see how this all plays out. But just before we head into the PLL, just a reminder: this part of the show is brought to you by Cherry's Injury.
If you get hurt at work, in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Cherry Law Firm is here to fight for you and get what you deserve. Cherry Injury Law is a dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. If you have been seriously injured in the state of PA by the negligence of another, and if you have questions for a Westchester or media personal injury attorney, please don't hesitate to call. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right. And again, that number is 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com.
All right, we bring ourselves over to the PLL. And just before we do that, of course, we got to get this nonsense out of the way. Really, we looked like we were lighting it up there after the Friday night games where we went 1-10.
They're making us look silly.
Yeah, we came back. We don't look terrible. I was at 2-2, Pat 1-3, Shawn 1-3, Mike 2-2, Wardo 1-3. So year to date, I'm sitting atop at 11-5. How I'm doing this, I don't know. Shawn, Pat, and Mike are all in a log jam at 8-8. And Eduardo at 6-10. But that Friday night was We start off with the Atlas facing the Whip Snakes, and I don't know about you guys, but I really thought that the Atlas were going to roll along some more when they got up 5-1. You know, 5-1 most of the way through that first, and then it just fell apart.
They shut down Teat too. Teat had 2 goals,
3 assists
in the first, and then he was more or less quiet through the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, they're smart. They know what to shut down. Everybody knows that he's the engine that drives this force.
Yeah.
But, wow, you know, the Whip Snakes really needed to come up with a big showing, and sure enough, you know, a big showing they had.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned, you know, as their rookies that stood out, right? Like Levi Anderson, Adam Petraeus, Jack Horace, Petraeus and Anderson got their first professional goals. I mean, Anderson's goal was a thing of beauty. I mean, he's going to be a good one. And the other thing to watch this game was that the face-offs, Jordan Ardella, Baptiste.
Yeah, and Ardella comes out ahead over Baptiste, you know, the 18-14. Not bad.
I mean, how many times too this year have you seen Tim Troutner get the hook and goal?
Yeah, he hasn't had it yet, and he made 10 saves, but still, 41% save thing isn't going to do it.
No.
But Krebs played great. He weathered the storm early, and he really had a really good day in the Maryland Nets. So, yeah, I got, you look at the stats, and again, where's their bread and butter? Atlas is, when the teeth thing isn't working, you need the guys like Miles Jones with the 2-point howitzers, Brian Kostiuk with the big time shots, and no 2-point goals. There's no 2-point goals in this game
at all. Yeah,
they got out ground balled by Maryland, who just wanted it more. It just seems like, you get that hiccup in the year, and this was the game where everything just went kind of south. I guess if you're going to lose, you might as well have everything go.
Well, I was going to say, again, it goes back to kind of just like the Riptide, right? As Teat goes, as Atlas goes, as Teat goes, as the Riptide goes. It's just everything goes through Teat.
Yeah. Yeah. And, even, you into power plays, it's 4 power plays. They come up empty.
Yeah.
That's Maryland. Atlas only got the one. But again, Atlas taking penalties. They need to stop this because if playing short, they're not able to do what they do best, and that's drive. When they're back on their heels trying to defend, that's not their strong suit. We know that. We know that they have to win these games 20 to 15. They're not going to stop a lot of teams. They're going to score a ton of goals. So if a team is able to shut down their offense, well, it took us 5 games to figure this out, but that's it. That's Atlas in a book. It's a very thin book.
I mean, it's their first loss. So, I mean,
very thin book.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. I mean, it's just one loss at this point. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've looked great, and even this one, only 16-12. They're able to get goals, but again, as you say, as Teat goes, is how this team goes, and when you start looking at stats of the teams, I tend to know Schellenberger, he had a goal and an assist, right? He's supposed to be the secondary option, right? So they not only did they shut Teat down, they shut Schellenberger down. Dixon, 2 goals, 2 assists. Again, he just had a way to shut down all of the offense. Jones had a goal, but again, I need something more. I need that.
You need a 2-pointer for him.
I need that outside shot because I need that defense to be spread out more and worry about that 2-point thing. If everything is coming in tight, they don't have to worry about it, and they can go and play a real nice tight box, almost as though box lacrosse, and just completely stifle everybody inside, which is why they were able to get Teat and why they're able to get Schellenberger, who can do their best work in tight, in close. If they open up that outside stuff, Dox Aiken was invisible. If they can, open it up with Dixon, they can open it up with Jones, then they start getting somewhere in here, and it moves and opens up that defense that they can't key off of Teat and Schellenberger, and away we go. So Peyton Cormier made an appearance, had a couple of shots. Now, I have a little an affinity with him because, of course, I worked for his mother over at Costco. She was one of my bosses for a number of years ago. So pretty cool to known him since he was a little boy. So for him to set the NCAA record for goals, and then now to make it in PLL and do okay, and can't wait to see him with Vancouver.
Yeah,
and see how he goes with the Warriors. This is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I was looking at the other side of things, Gary, with Maryland. I mean, 3 goals from TJ Malone. We had a couple goals from Levi Anderson, a couple from Petraeus, a couple from Chorus, a couple from Williams. Like, they were scoring by committee. They're starting to show a little bit of depth now, which is probably good news for the Whip Snakes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and kudos to Zed Williams for starting the game with a Woody in hand.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So,
well, we had Indigenous weekend, right? So love the designs too. Love the designs and the explanations behind them as well. They just were gorgeous. So if you guys anybody's interested, you can go into the PLL website and they're yours to purchase because they're just beautiful, beautiful shirts. So we moved to the second game of the weekend on the Friday night, and Boston stuns Utah. Now, all of us had Boston, right? Funny enough, I had debated it like I told you guys, and went back and forth on this one. Just had a gut feeling for some reason that this was the one that would I would have been out to lunch with Atlas anyways, but this was the one that just had me scratching my head and going back and forth, just looking at the lineups. And sure enough, Boston comes out with a 14-9 win. Anybody?
I was going to say the one thing that jumps out at me just looking at the score sheet is 5 2-point goals.
Yeah.
For Boston, yeah. I mean,
Boston,
really is the difference.
Talking about with Atlas, who had none, but it just screws up the entire defense for Utah when they're firing at will from a distance, but it opens up the inside as well. right? So,
They
and
didn't
Yeah,
even need
it
the
really
inside
does.
look at it because
And two of those came on the power play courtesy of Matt Campbell. So, it's another added dimension, beyond just the inside outside,
but it's
having
nice to see
having the
guys,
ability to be able to do that while the man up
right?
twice.
It's
yeah,
nice to see guys like Nolting and Holman, have solid games too, because they've been kind of iffy for a lot of the first couple of games of the season, not of the caliber that they're playing. Of a great caliber, yes, but not of their caliber, just under that echelon. And this game, I think they really, though they only had 3 points each, they really were enough to disrupt Utah and their set plays and their set defense. And they just couldn't concentrate on any one of them because, Donville had nothing, but they had to concentrate on him. Drenner had to get a 2-point goal.
He had two 2-point goals, I
Two
think.
Two 2
2-point
point
goals,
goals. I'm sorry. Yes. As well, we're talking about Islanian and Campbell, also with decent games. So it was coming from all angles. So they couldn't key on anybody in particular, which would take away the initial game plan and just throw that up in the wind, right? But for
Yeah,
the Archers,
and as funny as it sounds, it's and this is all due respect to Lyle Thompson, one of the best players on the planet, but him not playing for Cannons seems to almost have been a bit of a blessing for their
it
offense.
makes everybody accountable,
They
right?
can,
yeah.
that everyone
They
else
can't
has
just
been
rely
able,
on Lyle
everyone has
Thompson
been
anymore.
able to
Yeah,
step up. They've been. I think Boston's been able to put Nolting in better positions
Anytime you're ready, Pat.
on the floor, and we've seen that pay off. I mean, we saw 2 weeks ago. I think Nolting had 6 assists in their game. So
Absolutely. I just I look at this and again, the other thing with the Cannons is that their defense held strong. They really tied up Mac O'Keefe, Trey Leclerc, Tom Schreiber, who weren't big factors in this game, who could normally kill you individually or as a group. And they were able to really, of course, Connor Fields is gonna get his goals. Grant Emmett is going to get his points.
Yeah.
But if you're able to take 2/3 of that potent lineup and stop them cold, you have a good chance of winning. Remember, you held them under double digits too, which to me is very impressive.
yeah,
Kirst had a great game. Dobson, a little under his normal performance. He was just under 50%. He made 8 saves. 11 saves for Kirst, 55% save percentage. That's impressive against this team.
yeah.
And it's something I expected a couple of games earlier, but something, always one little thing or another that kind of derailed it a bit. But I really like what the Cannons put out this week. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do next week. All right, let's move on because I know the Gobbler is chomping at the bit
The cobbler's waiting.
to get himself flying in
what
here.
he's doing. Get him in here.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Come on by. We can do it out of order. But anyways, Denver and the California Redwoods, and the Redwoods are still having trouble. Denver.
Yeah,
wins
so
13
still
from 8. Just no production in this
still
game.
No.
still winless, and yeah,
It looked good to start.
it's Romar Dennis 2-2-pointers on the game, including the first goal of the game. Westberg follows with a typical goal right on the doorstep, putting his box skills to use on the field. The rest of the half was all Outlaws.
From
Graham
every
Bundy
which
Jr.
way, every time
Yeah.
goal they're going to score,
Yeah.
they score.
Yeah, Graham Bundy Jr. with a big game. He had 4 goals, one of them a 2-pointer.
We can almost get a Wool Bundy on this one, eh?
Yeah, Sam Hanley 4 assists on the game. Justin Anderson and Josh Zawada each had a pair of goals. Redwoods did fight back. This game was 8-8 after 3, but the fourth quarter just, the Redwoods have just had this problem with their offense just being inconsistent, and it showed again. Shut out 5-0 in the fourth quarter. And for the first time in his PLL career, Rob Pennell held off the score sheet.
Isn't that something?
That was one that jumped out at me. Yeah.
So that's something. And I guess I'm more concerned about all of this. Not so much. It's not even so much Pennell having a bad game or Redwoods having their lowest output of the season, because they had, I think, 11 goals in the first game, and then they had that 2015 shootout with Atlas in their second game. They brought on.
Boy, there are a lot of zeros on this score sheet.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and I hate to start pointing fingers now, but they're gonna start getting pointed soon, and
they're running out of time.
I hate to point the fingers in certain directions, but they brought on John Grant Jr. to run the offense. What's going on?
There's not a lot of offense being run.
Yeah, not at all.
So, yeah, no, I see your point on that.
So,
but without further ado,
there's a lot of inconsistency. So,
yeah,
the fourth leg to our table has arrived.
Oh
boy.
Hello, fourth leg to our table.
Should have been here earlier.
He's glowing.
Oh,
Morgan, listen, it's going to happen. We get a W. You get dog treats. We got a W. I'm getting a dog treat. It's a miracle. I'm shocked. Oh my gosh! Did I not win? It's a W. It's been like a dark cloud here in Philadelphia. The Phillies are getting banged up by the Marlins. Even though they won today, but it was quite a miracle. They had a battle back. You had a soccer team here is down and out. But however, the Waterdogs looked fine today or last night. They battled back and forth action between them and the Chaos. Listen, and the Chaos, they got some big boys over there. They got Josh Burns and they got Eric Dobson, who 6'5", again a tower over there. Straight from Notre Dame, back-to-back NCAA champion. Listen, that team is dangerous, and this game was nothing but back and forth. And the Waterdogs just picking their shots, looking for the miscommunication out there. Every time that the Chaos made a mistake, the Waterdogs capitalized on it. They were picking their shots. They were finally opening. They found the mismatches on the defense of with Chaos was thrown out in the defensive zone. The Waterdogs were finding the mismatches, scoring. They were producing shots. It was really, really good, fun stuff today. There's your win, 10-6 over the Chaos. So
Steve Whitney for doing the graphics for us, man. Just a spectacular job of graphics. We talked about it earlier in the show. Just fantastic. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and like I said, the Waterdogs, and I gotta give a player. I know this is Mike Sauer's team, but Kieran McArdle, this is his team. He's been the backbone so far. 3 goals, 2 assists. He looked really, really sharp today. He produced a couple of guys, helped make a couple assists today, but just being open when time you give him a small window of spacing, he's going to make you pay for that. And again, the Chaos defense looked dysfunctional today, especially that tail end of the game. Like I said, back and forth action down to the wire as far as the third quarter, 7-6 game, and then that fourth quarter came around. The Waterdogs start to run away because of the function, this miscommunication that the Chaos were having, and even Blaze Reardon, I dear love him, but Blaze Reardon was out of place. He left a wide open shot for Kieran McArdle to take a shot. Found the back of the net. And you can't do that to a guy like that. So they made you pay today. And listen, this was a hell-bound game.
Dylan Ward looked great in your nets, too, for the Waterdogs. He looked fantastic. He made 12 saves, a 66.7% save percentage. He just stifled them. Whereas Reardon still,
Yeah.
in regular games, Reardon made 11 saves, a 55% save percentage. He had a decent day, but in comparison to Ward, he looked like he didn't belong. Ward just looked.
Yeah, you're right.
Ward looked like Ward of old, the way they needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they needed in this one. They needed Ward to be that solid that they don't have to worry about the back end, and they just went and flew forward. And as the game went along, guys like Kieran McArdle, who are, these are fantastic players. 5 points in this game, everything was needed, everything. And come that fourth quarter, that was the be all tell all, because that's what had him pull away from everything, right? That just shut Chaos completely down. When you're going to score 3 on a 2-pointer and a 1-pointer, and you're going to leave Chaos in the dust, that's a potent lineup to shut down for that long, especially when it's just 7-6.
Gary, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, look, the season started the same way last year, 0-3. Your backs are kind of against the wall right now. You're the most dangerous animal. It's kind of, you die or fight, and that's what they did. They came to play on, and they played extremely well on both sides of the ball. Defense, the goaltending was, like you said, you mentioned about Dylan Ward just standing on his head, just being a complete, a brick wall back there. Stopped 12 out of 18 shots that came through to him. And then you had offense. We already know about that offense. That offense is high power. You got Mike Sowers. You got Kim McArdle. Jack Hanna, I mean, those guys can shoot and they can snipe. And Jack Hanna today was just, like I said, just beating the one-on-one coverages, just bullying his way, just picking his shots. Cameron McArdle today, just getting any kind of window spacing, was unloading. I mean, and that's what we expect out of Philadelphia. You expect this. And this is only gears up for Boston in the revenge game for next week. So it's going to be interesting how the Philadelphia is going to respond. Can this be a momentum builder? It's going to put some energy, especially heading up to B-Town, getting some revenge maybe. All that's going to play in the next week. But, I mean, as far as today, you need this win. So, I mean, I got to give this Philadelphia team kudos. Like I said, playing extremely well on both sides of the ball.
Right. Well, take a look at the standings because of this now.
Yeah,
Philadelphia actually put himself in the equation because Maryland winning, they had to win. There's no two ways about it. With Maryland beating the Atlas, they had to win just to stay. Otherwise, if they're sitting there 0-4 and Maryland is sitting at 2-2 and Boston 3-1 and Atlas at that stage would be 4-1, it's really that's an uphill climb. Here they're right in the conversation. A couple of wins, if they have a big game next week, and all of a sudden we're talking about Philadelphia moving themselves into third possibly. So this is huge. And
third, and you're still 2 games back of Cannons too. So I mean,
but just the way they won it is what I'm enthused about.
Yeah.
Is the back end looked great, and they got production when they needed it. And with it being a 1-goal game, they didn't fool. They put it together, stopped the other team, and actually won big. And they won that fourth quarter, hands down. That's the thing that really stands out to me, is we start looking at character of the team. We talked about it many times, but character of a team, and when the going gets tough, and when you need them, what happens? Do they fold? Do they drop? Or do they come out and swing? And it looks like they're coming out swinging with both fists. So.
Yeah, and I'll add a few things on that. I mean, Shawn mentioned, the possibility that you pull within the game. I mean, by beating Cannons, and if Whip Snakes lose, now you're tied with Whip Snakes, and you're just a game behind Boston next week.
That's I guess that was my point, right? You're only 2 games back of the Cannons.
Another point I would make, I'd go back to a couple of weeks ago when I told Pat, hey, well, where's the silver lining here? They were all 1-goal games. Now you have a win by a margin of 4 goals, and suddenly your scoring differential's back in the
you're in the positive. You're a +1.
Positive, yeah.
So, contrast that with Redwoods, who are sitting at 0-3, and look at their scoring differential right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and with that being the first tiebreaker.
Now, next week you got Boston playing California. Again, Boston plays 2 games next week, right? It's in Boston.
Yeah.
So you got the Atlas, a pissed off Atlas team playing Denver. But Denver's been looking great. this year, and they're another team high up Atlas.
I hate to sound like a weasel, but this benefits Philadelphia right now because Boston's going to have that game on Friday. Their legs might be soft. They might get a little fatigued, and then Philadelphia's going to be fresh heading into that game. You can actually catch this team by surprise. I mean, they're probably going to be worn down. So I don't know how much energy they're going to have left over, carry over for that second game. But I mean, Philadelphia could take full advantage of that and grab a big win here.
Well, you also got to think of California. You're talking about that wounded animal. Well, they're that wounded animal now at 0-3. So they become very dangerous. And it's looking and digging deep into the pride of that team. And Boston may be just walking into an absolute a buzzsaw that week because them and Philadelphia, you're playing the two teams that are sitting on the bottom of the standings. Both teams are good. Both teams want to get ahead, and both teams know it's now or never. So they're walking into two buzzsaws back to back. So they're not going to have easy time.
Who has the bye? Is it Chaos?
Chaos isn't playing, right?
So
Chaos is on the bye.
Okay, so
Chaos.
So the Archers are playing in the other game on
against the Whip Snakes. So
yeah,
and I just want to bring up this other point, just in looking at these standings and the new format. Some of these teams, you take a look at Atlas, 4-1. They've already had their doubleheader weekend. Waterdogs, near the bottom of the standings, but they've already had their doubleheader. Now you look at teams like Redwoods that still searching for a win, and they still have to play their doubleheader weekend. And we've already seen with Waterdogs, we've seen a team lose both legs of their homecoming weekend, just as we've seen with Atlas a team win both legs of their homecoming weekend.
Yep.
So
and Carolina split theirs. So we've seen each version.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of feel like I almost feel like timing is important here too. With Waterdogs, you're looking at they've already had their homecoming weekend and they've already had their bye week.
Yeah.
So when we hear so much from players, they just want continuity. They hate bye weeks. They hate having to do double headers.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. They'd love for everything to just be a game a week, a game a week, a game a week. Waterdogs have that. Some other teams don't.
Yeah.
Redwoods has to wait till week 7 to play their doubleheader. Redwoods have had their bye. They had their bye first week of the season, but they still have to play their doubleheader. It's not till I think week 7. Archers, I think, don't have their doubleheader till the end of the season.
Which is even tougher because you also have the All-Star break too. So there's that.
Yeah, you have that. Depending on who you are and where your bye week or your homecoming week is, it could be something vital. For Redwoods.
Well, I was going to say, especially the Redwoods, right? Because depending on where they land on that doubleheader.
I mean, if they're 0-5, 0-6, or whatever they might be.
That could be their season.
When they go into their homecoming weekend, where it's okay. Now we've got to play 2 this weekend, and we really need them both.
Well, and you just
playoffs goodbye.
Mike, you just mentioned too, right? And something Paul Day actually always brought up when I was in the press. He's like, he just wanted back to back. He just wanted to play games. He couldn't stand week here, week there, week here. So when I look at this Chaos team. They just took an L, right? They're not going to play for another 2 weeks because you're not going to Boston. You got right after that it's the All-Star break.
All-Star.
Now you're going to come back off this losing window. So it's going to be interesting for those guys. And like I said, this was huge for the Philadelphia Waterdogs to get this win. It was kind of a must-needed thing here. And how about for Bill Tierney? And you guys might know this better than me, but when I watched the style of play yesterday, and I did a lot of film work on it, it was more like pass, find out a guy, wait, create the dysfunction on the defense, then take your shots. Is that part of his game plan?
I mean, I would.
I would think it would be.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think
generally,
you're going to just put that on the seat of your pants.
generally, yes, yeah, because I mean, you're
You're trying to get them to make mistakes on all the passing and all the other things.
yeah,
But that can bite you also, right? If you're if you're good at interceptions, that will bite the team, and then have to change everything up. But if it's working,
and a lot of times set plays, especially plays that I would think really it's more plays that don't necessarily revolve around or start from position X behind the net.
Yeah.
You're looking, the mismatch you're looking to get is you're looking to find the short stick defensive midi and get that matchup with them rather than, hey, I'm an attack man, but I'm dealing with the long pull.
Right. It's
So
going to be interesting, though.
Yeah, because
really. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, because like when I was watching like I said, I'm watching the game. It was just pass. Sometimes they'll automatically wait for the defense to come up with a double coverage, and right away the Waterdogs would find someone open, find the mismatch, or find the spacing, and just like any kind of little window, like I said, any kind of little window they got, they were making plays. They were scoring goals. So again, maybe like I said, maybe this was just a bad day for the Chaos, and I'm kind of overlooking it. But I didn't, or maybe this is just Bill Tierney's playbook. Just play. Look for mismatches. Play. Pick your shots, and then he knows he's got guys who could got a couple gunslingers. God's got some fast, accurate shots. So that's what I was just wondering.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see too. Now that you got that win on the board, can you carry that momentum? Now we've seen what happens to teams that go, winless. They get just that one win, just that one kind of confidence booster. Can they continue that on?
And you're playing on the main network as well, ESPN2. So you're going to get a lot of people eyes on there. So this is the time you can become America's darlings.
Yes, rivalry game. I love it. Right on prime time, right on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's those two are like. Other Philly, New York, and Boston. It's always a scrimmage. It's like me and Al Mike sitting together. There's always a fight ready to break out at any time. You know what I mean? So that's us on Sunday morning. But yeah, man. Like I said, good stuff though. Always though. But look, like Shawn said, I think this is going to help momentum carry over. Great game today. Great game last night from the Philadelphia Waterdogs. Like I said, solid on three accounts: defense, the goaltending, the offense. Was all cylinders were clicking for this team, and that's the way you got to be moving forward. Now, like I said, hopefully that carries over, and you can put down. Like I said, Boston's going to be playing a game prior to, so catch them with some rubber legs, catch them being all fatigued, and taking full advantage of it.
Absolutely. All righty. So we're looking forward to catching your report next week and seeing if you're as excited about this. I think you will be. Something tells me.
Oh yeah, I'm for sure. I'm gonna be rocking and rolling next week.
That's it. July 4th starts on July 1st for Pat.
Yeah. Yes. Hot dogs. Let's go. I'm ready to throw down. Where did my dog treat go? I think
he's put 4 different entries in for the Nathan's contest. I've seen your training videos, man. That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Oh man,
yeah. Could definitely put down some burgers.
We should have the All-Star teams announced this week as well, because voting stopped today. At midnight tonight is when voting stops. So if you still want to get it in, you can go on the PLL website and still get your picks in for who you want to see in this All-Star game. And away we go, because the All-Star game is in 2 weeks, and it's going to be exciting. Every All-Star game is exciting with PLL, even though there's 10,000 goals. But, hey, it's a lot of fun, and I'm always in for the competitions. I love that shot competition.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Can't run it,
With a long stick.
Yeah, I wouldn't get in front of that. Nope, thanks. I'm good.
Yeah, you want to get in front of that with no equipment. Yeah,
Nope.
Sign
No
me up.
thanks. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. I value my life. Thanks.
Too many welts. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Pat.
Oh,
Exciting stuff.
absolutely. And listen, guys, I got to admit, I was listening to the show prior to you guys. I didn't want to hear the name. I heard the name Zach Higgins. I just, not yet. It's too soon for me. Just too soon. But anyway,
good,
guys.
He's looking good this summer. I've sent him your regards a few times being at the Brooklyn game. Don't worry.
Oh,
Maybe give me a look.
no, we're good here. We're good. Yes. But look, guys, I'll definitely catch you guys next week.
Absolutely. Pat, take care. Just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we're on Thread, we're on YouTube. Remember, on YouTube, there's a bunch of stuff on there extra, which includes retro games, which includes a library of our shows, interviews, press conferences, anything that you really need extra to keep yourself moving. Instagram, we are doing all kinds of extra stuff there as well as we're working with a lot of the teams. I know MSL, I'm working with these teams, and they're sharing our stuff and vice versa, back and forth, which is a lot of fun and getting a whole lot more viewership, which is really, really cool. Also, the to go down to our Facebook page 3, 4, 5 times a day, because the news is always changing, and we are heading ourselves now into free agency season. Pretty soon we're going to be talking about the draft and all the other stuff for NLL as well as everything else. We're into the heat of the moments now for OSL and for MSL. We're into the middle part of the season for WLA. Everything is heating up. We're right in there. The heat's coming up in the summer, and so is it with the lacrosse. So everything is moving forward. PLL is another one that they're heading into the midway point. We're going to be at the All-Star break, so you're going to want to get your information here. We are your Costco of lacrosse. We are your one-stop shop. Our thumb is always on the pulse of the situation. We have everything in hand. Our team of writers and our team of people are going to make sure that you are up to date with everything. So you need not go anywhere but here, and we will take care of you. It is our privilege and our pleasure to do so. We are in the last words, guys. We've made it to the last word section. Shawn, since you were able to get away with no last words last week, I'll start with you.
No, you know what, Gary? I think you pretty much summed it up, especially out west here with the WLA hitting the midway point. Even though Victoria's running away with it, that's 2 versus through to 7. It's pretty much anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, final words?
Yeah, same thing. I'm definitely looking forward to this week, WLA. It's going to be the busiest week for Shawn and I. 8 games, so check back on the website, check back on the Facebook page, because Shawn and I are going to be busy all week.
My Spanish isn't any good, guys, so I don't know. I know it's a compliment, so thank you very much, Jaime. Thank you very much. Maybe Eduardo could translate that one for us. But absolutely. Guys, I am looking forward to this week. I'm looking forward to the couple of road trips that I have. Again, I'm looking at Six Nations with Oakville. I'm looking at Peterborough with Coburg, where I will be definitely, and Coburg next week for the Six Nations Coburg game. So 3 for sure, as well as OSL. So I will be putting a lot of miles on the car again. If you see me at the games, please come up and say hello. Introduce yourselves. I love talking. I love talking with people about lacrosse and all the stuff that goes on. I met so many interesting people. It was great seeing Ron Messer again yesterday for the Gales game. Unfortunately, they dropped it and they're out of the playoffs. Congratulations to the Kahnawake Hunters on a great comeback. It was 4-1 for the Gales midway through the second, and they just took over and wound up winning 10-5 and are really looking red hot to get into the second round of the playoffs in Junior B. So congratulations to them. It was a fantastic evening yesterday over in Bowmanville for that game there. And of course, afterwards in the post party, it was great to see people as well. So with that, I want to say thank you to everybody again for week in, week out. A reminder, next week is 11 a.m. Mark that down on your calendars. Breakfast with the boys, 11 a.m. And then we're back to our 9 o'clock slot, our regular slot. Until next week, though, make sure you keep your stick in your hands. Again, don't forget to check us out all week long because all the news will be right up to date on our sites. So please give it a look. And until next week, have a great week. We'll see you 11 a.m. next Sunday morning.